talks. Today's video, it will be similar to those walk and talk videos, but will be work and talk. So you find me today up here in our attic. I think this is the first video I have from this place, and as you can see, it still very much resembles a building site. This is because when we built our house, our funds were insufficient and we were not able to finish the attic as it should be done. So we just left it, and it remained a project for further up in time. And since it's now winter and I don't have lots of stuff to do in the garden, I decided to do some interior work. And the first part which I wanted to work on was the attic. So, a bit of a backstory. Our house, as you can probably see here, is a regular brick and mortar house, as most houses in Bulgaria are. Timber framing or the way the American suburbs are built is not very common here. Good quality dimensional lumber is very expensive and it's not easy to find. So it was still built traditionally using bricks and concrete. And it's much less expensive this way. So our house was built using a regular reinforced concrete and bricks structure. And then a few years ago, the outwards facade was insulated using rockwool, a breathable, relatively ecological material. It's not a plastic or a petroleum derivative. And while the contractors were doing the insulation on the outside, I insisted that all of the leftover pieces are kept. They were reluctant to save those pieces, claiming that it's impossible to reuse them later in such small pieces. But still I wanted to keep them because the material is very expensive. And I knew that it will come a day when I will need it. And all of the leftover pieces, several square meters of rock wool, a good material, all that was saved here in the attic. All the offcuts, all the small pieces, all the unusable parts. And then afterwards we started doing the interior insulation of the house, which was done with this material which I'm now using. I don't know the word for that in English. I think that maybe the closest to that is breeze blocks or aircrete. It's a type of material which is very porous and very light. You can cut it very easily with a regular saw, and it has the added benefit of being very breathable. The glue, the cement mixture which is used to glue it to the walls is also with a porous breathable structure, and that works very well with our rockwool insulated house. So when we did the interior insulation of the house, there was of course lots of offcuts as well, and even some of the packages were unopened. And again, of course, I wanted to save those because you never know when you're gonna need them. The contractors warned me that they are very brittle and they can be easily moved around without breaking them, but still I insisted. So this whole section of the attic in which I'm now standing was almost completely taken over by leftover insulation parts. The rockwool and this aircrete forms as well. And you might wonder, why am I talking about house insulation and building projects in a permaculture channel? But if you think about it, using the waste or producing no waste is one of the core principles of permaculture. Reusing stuff and doing stuff yourself without exporting some of your income outside of your household economy is also very in line with the permaculture principles. And another thing that I really want to learn how to work this material and how to do the insulation. So that was my motivation to start working here in the attic. So the first thing I did was to move everything out of this place. This is the south corner of the attic. All of the insulation piles, they were sorted and they were moved away to other sections of the attic, so I can work easier. And afterwards I started sorting the rockwool to see which pieces I can use, and then starting stuffing the rockwool between the rafters here on the roof. You can see beside me, those are the rafters of the roof, and very conveniently they are 12 centimeter thick beams, and we have 12 centimeter thick insulation left from the outside, so it works very well together. It fits perfectly, but the problem is that I don't have whole sheets of insulation, only smaller pieces, so it was pretty much a game of Tetris to try and fit the pieces together and stuff them in such a way that there is some internal pressure so they don't fall out of the wooden structure. And just by doing that, I used all of the leftover rockwool which we had, so I freed a lot of space, and I have completed this whole section, and I needed to purchase just a single package of rockwool, and I'll show you later because it's not visible from this side. So all in all, I saved quite a bit of money by reusing the materials which were otherwise destined to be thrown away by the guys which did the outside insulation. And then after I was done with the rock wool, I started working this wall here. It's an outside wall of brick and concrete, and I'm insulating it using this material, which is super light. You can see this 50 by 50 centimeter piece here, easily picked up by 2 fingers. So it's very porous and very good insulation, and I especially like it because uh, unlike drywall, it has no cavity uh, behind it. It's glued directly to the wall. This is very important for a village house because lots of critters can can go inside and live in a cavity made by a drywall structure. You can see how easily we can cut this material. I have to remove those sticking out pieces because the boards which I used were broken off like this one, and they didn't have an even edge, and I need to overlap them like that. I have my laser level here just in case. So this is my project for the coming weeks, and I think I already shared that, but I have never worked with that material before, never used this type of insulation myself. I just watched the guys who did the indoors work it, but I don't have any real experience, so it's a learning experience for me as well. In no way I'm advising you to do what I'm doing, but the general advice is to never stop learning stuff, never stop acquiring that experience. So it's been a couple of days since I shot the last part of the video, and since then the temperatures here drop rapidly. We're now strictly under 0 Celsius in the daytime, and it's been snowing. So here in the attic it's getting a bit cold to work, and I hurried to finish the most messy part of the project. And now I wanted to show you some details and finish that video. I will certainly be making a follow-up when we progress a little bit more, but for now, just like a simple recap about how I reuse the materials which I have left over and what I had to buy in order to finish this stage. So first of all, this is this wall here. I think it's called the gable wall in English, which I insulated using this very porous material, similar to aircrete, but much lighter. And you can see all those pieces and how many of the blocks are just pieced together like a puzzle. This is because when the contractors stored the remaining pieces here, they just kind of threw them around, and this is a very brittle material, as you can see. So it was not an easy thing to create a level surface. I used all my patience, my laser level and the regular level as well, and I have a tiny bit to fill in here and a couple of remaining pieces which I'll be putting down here, and the remaining wall will be done in the future. For now, my aim is to finish this space, which is the lower part of the attic. This is the chimney, triple brick masonry, so even though currently the fire is roaring downstairs, it's cold here, so no need to insulate that. I'll just do a skim on the surface. This is the vapor barrier which we purchased and we are preparing now to install here in the attic between the rafters. You can see the amazing puzzle which I completed with the pieces of the insulation rock wool which I had left over. There are some larger pieces, but most of them were just small offcuts, and that took me the better part of a week to finish. And down here you can see that this is a thinner and darker color rock wool which I had to purchase in order to finish those two pieces. I used some foam to fill the gaps all around this line, and after we're finished with this piece, with this whole place here, I will pour a thin self-leveler which will make the surface even, so we can roll some storage crates on small wheels, small roller wheels. And you can see the other part of the attic, the lower section. Everything is just piled together in a jumbo, and the idea is to have this sorted and moved, and I plan to do some shelving here for storage, 2 or 3 levels, we'll see, so I can more easily sort everything from this part, and I can continue working here with insulating this side of the gable wall and between the rafters and doing the floor as well. But all that has to be sorted and properly stored. And the main problem is that here I have no materials left to use, while on this part almost everything I used was left over, so not much was purchased, and we currently don't have a budget for that, so it will be a work in progress, and of course I'll keep you posted. So that was all for today, folks, and I'll see you the next time.